Now, we could spend hours on this, but I want to hit the high points. Interviewing. Interviewing is the most important thing that you can do in the job search process. All of this other stuff means nothing unless you get an interview, face-to-face in front of people where you can sell yourself. Now, I will tell you that an interview is a staged, contrived event. But to paraphrase what Churchill said about democracy, it sucks, but it's the best we've got. Interviewing is a staged, contrived event, and you better catch on. Your ability to interview and interview well is more important than your ability to do the job. The most qualified candidate does not get hired unless the most qualified candidate sells himself in the right way. And remember, again, it's a numbers game. I personally have to get 22 candidates in interview, or 22 interviews, to fill one opportunity. Now, that's one candidate, 22 places, 22 people, one place. You can mix and match the numbers. I know what my numbers are. I have to cold call 100 and some odd employers before I talk to 3 of them, and I'm going to get a job opportunity out of one of them. That's my numbers. I need to know what my numbers are. And you'd best expect rejection, refusal, and you'd best get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I did not say this was easy. I said it was simple. Now, who to call to get an interview? Anybody you can think of. Anybody. On the Dr. Phil show a couple weeks ago, a guy says, I've been out of work 3 months. I've only had 3 interviews. I said, how many people did you call? I said, well, he said, I made 3 or 4 calls, and then I didn't do anything. He sat there. He was scared. Look, you got to think of everybody you know. You sit down at your kitchen table, and you think about everybody you know. Cousins, mother, brother, in-laws, outlaws, anybody you can think of, and you write them all down. These are some of the places. Alumni associations, CPAs, bankers. We have this in your booklet. But previous employers, previous peers, anybody you can think of. Recruiters, career fairs, anybody that you can think of, you call. And then what you say, it's real simple. Hi, I'm Tony Beshara. I'm your wife's 3rd cousin. I've been an accountant for the past 10 years in the manufacturing arena. I'm presently looking for a job. Do you know of anybody that might be interested in an accountant? They'll go, no, I don't know anybody. Great. May I send you my resume in case something comes up? Sure. And then they're going to forget you. And then you need to, may I call you back in 30 to 45 days? Sure. Expect that 30 to 45 days, 60 days, you call them back. They go, oh, yeah, you know, we've been looking for an accountant in our company for about 4 months. Why don't you give me a call and come in and see us tomorrow? And you go, wait a minute. Whoa, what happened here? So you need to follow up. That's what you need to say. Keep a record of what they said. Keep a record of what went on in each situation, and call them back every 30 to 45 days. Now, how to get an interview with somebody you don't know. If you're a salesperson, who do you call for an interview? Sales manager, duh. If you're an accountant, you call the accounting manager. You call the controller. If you're an admin, you call the office manager. Say, well, I called the number and nobody will give me the name. Secret. Call the accounts payable department. The accounts payable department all day gets calls of, when you got to pay me? You call up, oh, I must have gotten across to the accounts payable department. I just wanted to know who your vice president of sales was. And they'll tell you. They are so glad to be talking to somebody that they don't have to say, well, the check's in the mail. You know, they're going to tell you who it is. And all you got to do is give those people a call. Now, likely as not, you're not going to get them. So you need to leave a lip load. You need to leave a short presentation about yourself, about what you can do for them, and then your phone number. We give you that in the program. It is not that hard to do. It takes a lot of work. Do you leave a message? How many messages do you leave? I don't know. I leave them for company. I called the guy 26 times not too long ago, and he said, I'm sure glad you kept after me. We do need somebody in Dallas. Hey, I might have gotten to the 27th one and decided I'm not going to call that guy anymore. I can't tell you when to stop, but you need to keep after it, and you need to leave a real good presentation on yourself about what you can do for them. And you need to ask, when can we get together? Now, lots of telephone interviews going on these days. I hate these things. Telephone screens. 90% of the people that are going to talk to you in an initial interview over the phone are not your hiring manager, and their job is to screen you out. So you need to be aware of that. Make sure that when you have a telephone interview, you do it in a quiet business place. Don't do it with the TV on, the kids yelling, the dog yapping, and for goodness sakes, don't do it while you're driving. Don't laugh. Oh yeah, I can do that tomorrow. I've got to be somewhere at about 9:30. I'm in my car. I'll call them while I'm driving. Oh my goodness. Be in a quiet business place. Have your resume in front of you. Have some decent questions about the company, but not about what they can do for you. Don't ask things like, what does this pay? And after 10 or 15 minutes, ask for the face-to-face interview. Don't let it go any longer than that. But watch out for telephone screens. They're going to try to eliminate you. Now, this is really important. You've got to know who you're interviewing with in an initial interview. When you go into a company with an initial interview, you need to know if you're interviewing with the hiring authority that has pain, or screeners, or people in HR, or people that are hired to be third party. Here's the reason this is a problem. If the hiring authority isn't doing the interviewing, whoever is doesn't know the gives and takes of the job. And they are more concerned about how they look to the hiring authority than they are concerned about getting the best candidate. It is psychological. The mantra in the HR department is, we don't want to look bad. So they are thinking about, how does this candidate not going to work out? That means that when you go into that interview, you better be prepared and you better be able to sell yourself extremely well. But you need to know who you're interviewing with. Now, the purpose of an initial interview is to sell yourself to the next interview. You need to develop a presentation on yourself that features advantages and benefits and how you can bring value to that organization. It should be a 10 to 15 minute presentation of yourself, and you need to practice it and practice it and practice it to where after you wake up at 3 in the morning reciting your goals, at 3:20 you can give an interview. And it has to be an absolute precision. If you go in there and mess around like, why would someone want to work here? You're dead. They are interviewing 43 other people. After you make a presentation on yourself, you need to ask, how does what I have to offer stack up with what you're looking for? And then you need to ask, what do I need to do to get the job? Biggest mistakes that people make in the interviewing situation is not asking for the job. They say things like, well, what do we go from here? When should I expect to hear from you? What's up? I mean, yuck. What do I need to do to get the job? Smash mouth. You might as well be, because there are 43 other people that are interviewing that are doing the same thing. They're asking for the job. People think that interviewing is a two-way street. It is not. It is a one-way street. 43 people and them until somebody gets to the altar. Now, once you get to the altar and somebody wants to marry you, or you want to say, I do, then you can ask all the questions you want. But until then, it's sell, sell, sell. Too many times, candidates focus on what they want instead of what they can do for a hiring authority. I forgot to mention, leave your cell phones on. If an employer calls you for an interview, answer it, will you? Okay. People forget to sell themselves about what makes them better than any other candidate, and they don't bridge their specific experience to what the employer might need.